předsednictví a dále se zmíní i o vztahu Maďarské republiky k makroregionálním strategii a zejména k evropské strategii pro Podunají. Vaše excelence, dávám vám slovo.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. First, let me express my deep appreciation for the opportunity to address you here today, and to do that at an event specially dedicated to the Danube Region Strategy, an issue truly close to Hungarian hearts. Before anything else, my thanks go to MEP Sehnalová, the person who has initiated this event, a good friend of Hungary, as shown by her selfless work with which she organized the Hungarian Days in her beloved Kroměříž earlier this year. And may I point it out again, those were extraordinarily rich days in terms of introducing to the public of Moravia Hungarian culture, arts, science, and cuisine, and of course, wines too. But enough of recalling the beauty of those days in May. I'm also deeply grateful to all of you who have joined us here today, who have shown your interest in, and thereby your mental openness to this issue of the DRS. It was almost 3,000 years ago that a wise Greek, one of my all-time heroes, a certain Democritus, recognized for the first time that, I quote, "Water is the best, as water is the source of all motion." As a matter of fact, it has been so ever since. Beyond doubt, water, or more specifically, the water of the mighty Danube, was the source of an important part of the activities of the Hungarian presidency of the European Union in the first half of this year. But let's stop here for a moment or two. It was clear from the start of our preparations for the presidency job that it would be a great challenge for Hungary, but also the source of pride, joy, and may I add, of fun for all of us involved. Ours was a special presidency, at least for two reasons. It was the first for Hungary, and also the first to be held by a relatively new member after the adoption of the Lisbon Treaty. You know that the motto we have chosen for our presidency was reflecting our ambition to have a strong, or at least a stronger Europe. An EU that has a stable currency, reinforced common policies, effective common institutions, and last but not least, an EU that continues to serve the ideal of solidarity. We thought it important to strengthen the concept of European economic, social, and territorial cohesion. And it has been our view that the response to these challenges that we are facing should be having more and not less Europe. As for the Danube Region Strategy, the DRS, the jewel in the crown of the Hungarian EU presidency, it was finally endorsed by the European Council on the 24th of June. It may be worth recalling that the main aim of the DRS is to facilitate sustainable economic growth and to help job creation in the region, even if it does not come, at least for the time being, with any extra EU financing. Likewise, the DRS is focused on improving mobility through renewing transport infrastructure in general and developing more environment-friendly navigation in particular. And similarly, it is also supposed to help in securing sustainable energy and in reducing energy dependence. All in all, the DRS, which is the second macro-regional strategy of the EU, provides a possibility for a more effective use of the EU structural funds. And if I'm allowed to use such lofty words, it offers a unique opportunity for participant countries to give a coordinated regional response to global challenges. Of course, one might want to ask, who is going to benefit from having this strategy for the Danube region? Well, the answer is simple. All the people living there who could have, who shall have, and who hopefully will have faster transport by road and rail, cleaner transport on the rivers, cheaper and more secure energy, and a better environment with cleaner water, well-protected biodiversity, and cross-border flood prevention. Energy, or to be more specific, encouraging the use of sustainable energy was established as one of the focuses that the strategy should have. And I am particularly proud to remind you that this priority area has been coordinated by the two countries that I love the most, Hungary and the Czech Republic. And I know that this Czech-Hungarian cooperation in the field of sustainable energy has been quite successful, but I would leave the details to Ambassador Podunají, the Hungarian government's commissioner for the DRS. Here I have the privilege of not going into the details, but rather to talk about the ideas behind them. And let me be sincere with you. I think one of the most important guiding elements of the Danube region strategy is the notion of Central Europe. The soft power of the many things we share in this somewhat windy, somewhat stormy, and truly diverse part of the world that has never been too rich in anything but history. In addition to the direct economic interests that we are having, the idea of the DRS is based on some deeper things as well. The experience that we have in common, the heritage that we all cherish, the mentality that we share in this region of our old continent, and of course the many similar ambitions that we try to realize. But before anything else, the DRS is also based on something else that we share here in this neighborhood, the aspirations, the dreams that we all have of a better, a more prosperous and a less volatile future. Yes, the DRS, encompassing those 8 member states of the EU and the 6 states that are yet outside of the Union, is also a carrier for reconciliation, carrier for cooperation, a peace project, if you wish. And let's be ambitious. European Union, European unity has been established along another great river, the Rhine. Why can't we, along the Danube, give it a new impetus? Look, as a Hungarian, I have a certain bias. Allow me, finally, to quote from a poem entitled The Danube, penned back in the hard times of the 1930s, written by Attila József, arguably Hungary's greatest poet of the 20th century. It ends with 4 lines that I would very much like to leave with you this morning. It says, I quote, "From the blood of our fathers shed in former wars flows peace, a common memory, and mutual regard, a promise of order, a tolerant way to live. This is our task. It will be hard." Thanks for your attention.
Maďarské republiky paní pátek.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dear member of the European Parliament, dear Madame Sehnalová, dear Olga. ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. It's a great pleasure today to address you, even of the Danube region strategy hosted by our Czech colleagues. Let me recall that the introduction of the strategy has been one of the main priorities for the Hungarian EU presidency. Therefore, we are extremely glad that this exchange is taking place today in Prague, where we can discuss the implementation and the first experiences of this common project. In my contribution, I would like to share three different topics. First of all, I try to answer the question, why do we need this macro-regional strategy? The second topic is the famous financing. And the third one, I will share some ideas about our common task, the energy, very shortly, because I know that Engineer Madame Svitkova will give a more detailed presentation today on the energy. As it was already mentioned, the Danube macro-regional strategy has been endorsed by the European Council under its Hungarian presidency in June 2011. Member States gave green light to the strategy by agreeing on the main principles and first steps. The political agreement of the 27 member states shows us that the goals regarding the Danube region strategy are common. This mutual agreement promises for us a livable and prosperous Danube region, which we implemented as a part of a long-term joint European agreement. I would like to stress a long-term joint European agreement. For the implementation of the strategy, an informal governance system has also been established during the Hungarian presidency. As a result, all 11 priority areas have already started work, elaborating projects in the respective steering groups. Politically, the Danube strategy has a clear European added value. The added value of the strategy lies in the enhanced cooperation between countries of the EU and third countries. Although the strategy is primarily a European Union strategy, never forget, it is a European Union strategy, the Hungarian presidency has made every effort to involve the 6 non-EU member states in the strategy development. We have also repeatedly and clearly reiterated that the third country's participation is crucial for our success. During our presidency, we have also taken every chance to inform them about the adoption of the procedure. I'm personally on the position that without the involvement of the 6 non-EU member states and their active participation, there is no successful implementation of the strategy and there is no coordinated approach to our common challenges. What are our visions? What is the Hungarian vision? Our vision is about the Danube region, as I already mentioned, that is livable and at the same time developed and prosperous. Then is the Danube region fully livable? I'm sure that then it attracts its inhabitants. Therefore, we imagine a region with the Danube as a green corridor, a region where the water quality is ensured, the biodiversity of nature is conserved, and the water sports and water tourism are facilitated. And as our ambassador already pointed out, we envisage a region where transportation routes are secure and where people are brought up to sustainable thinking and acting. A region where mobility is guaranteed through well-developed infrastructure, a region where barriers for small and medium-sized enterprises are really removed in the internal market. You can take the question, is the Danube strategy a good instrument to realize at least some of these visions? The Danube strategy is not only a good instrument, it is the best so far we know. In fact, there is no other comprehensive development strategy for our region that is coordinated approach for responding to cross-border challenges. The challenges we face are integrated. They cannot be solved in an isolated way. Ensuring sustainable navigation is not be ensured without protecting our environmental assets. We cannot resolve the problem of flooding and drought without a comprehensive water management plan. The Danube strategy ensures comprehensive integrated solutions. In addition, the governance model of the strategy provides a fine solution. It represents a soft intermediate level of intervention between the EU and the states level. This new soft level is determined by functional reality and not by bureaucratic boundaries. And I think that's a very important message for all of us. By carefully preparing the implementation, the Hungarian presidency has done every necessary step to bring forward a successful realization of the strategy. Based on the high-level presidency conference in Hungary in Göteborg, symbolically on Europe Day, the informal governance structure has been established. Each policy field has organized first kick-off meeting by the end of the Hungarian presidency, and the work in the steering groups is being continued these days. As the selection of the project and the agreement on realistic and financial target has been started. The second point, the second topic which I would like to raise today, that is the financial aspects of financing. The strategy provides no new EU funds, as we heard, requires no change to EU legislation, and creates no additional structures. While we are accepting the principle of the famous 3 no's, and also we propose to include it in the Council conclusion, we also believe that the principle of the 3 yes go with it. Yes to better alignment of funding, yes to more efficient coordination of instruments, and yes to new and fresh ideas. Our position is there is no 3 no's without the 3 yes. And in the next financial perspective, we can discuss what should we do with the 3 no and the 3 yes. Hungary is on the position that we can keep this 3 no plus 3 yes also for the next financial perspective. But it would be very, very useful to secure some financial sources for the preparation, for the coordination in Brussels language for the so-called TA, the technical assistance course. And that is my message to the European Parliament today with Olga. But if there are no additional new community funding available, how can we the question of financing solve? The implementation of the strategy will be ensured by mobilizing existing available funds and directing them towards priorities. Today, we are more than midway through the EU financial programming period from 2007 to 2013. According to estimates, 10 to 30 or even more billion euros could remain unspent in the region. Nobody wants that. Not even the critics. But not only structural and cohesion funds are available. Resources are also accessible resources, for example, for the European Agriculture Fund for Rural Development, the 7 Research Framework Program, the Competitiveness and Innovation Program, and the Life Plus Program. All these financial resources must be used in an efficient and coordinated way. In addition, international financial institutions are ready to intensify their lending and project generation capacities in the region. We have to use the funds delivered by the Danube strategy to have large-scale macro-regional projects that are reaching the doorsteps of the international financial institutions. This has also a relevance from both an accession and neighborhood dimension. For this reason, a so-called Budapest Danube contact point will be established as a joint initiative of the European Investment Bank and the government of the Republic of Hungary, aiming to support and accelerate the implementation of the strategy. The establishment of the Danube contact point, Budapest Danube contact point, is based on a memorandum of understanding signed between Hungary and the European Investment Bank on June this year. The main objective of the Danube contact point is to assist on the ground to implementation of the strategy on relevant priority areas. This activity will be carried out, especially from a financial perspective, by utilizing existing EIB instruments and expertise. Hungary and the EIB are both delegating experts for 2 years to this office, and other partner states have also the chance to participate directly at this project. The EIB has long experience of project financing in the countries and regions covered by the Danube strategy. Only within the last 4 years, 2007-2010, the EIB lending commitments in the Danube region amounted to some 38 billion euro. In the 2010, total EIB lending in this region was 10.3 billion euro, on which 8.8 billion for EU member states. That is something. The EU strategy for the Danube region, the countries in the Danube region was some countries in the Danube region was hit hard by the global economic and financial crisis. Now all of us are fighting for more growth and higher employment, as our ambassador already told us. The strategy contains serious efforts to align economic and ecological interests. These interests are strongly influencing our mid-term future. The financial governance model offers a contribution for the solution of these challenges. It now also up to the coordination capacity of the European Commission to enhance the successful implementation. We have formal documents, the informal governance structure established, and support of the political element. Now comes the interesting part, the implementation of concrete projects where stakeholders, chambers, NGOs, citizens, and project leaders need to be active. As last topic, let me say some words on the energy. Hungary and the Czech Republic have taken joint responsibility in coordinating the strategy's priority area on the promotion of sustainable energy. Escalating challenges such as growing energy dependency, food infrastructure, barriers to common market pose several tasks for us in the Danube region. The required joint actions coordinated approach on a broader regional territorial level. regard energy, we can see that fragmented markets and lack of diversification lead to higher cost and reduced competition. A very important achievement of the Hungarian EU presidency in this year was the progress made on the North-South energy corridor in Europe. To promote the implementation of the program, a high-level working group was set up early this year, dealing with the subjects of natural gas, oil and electricity. The working groups are now closing the first working phase of analysis and stock-taking, and start the identification of projects of European interest. After preparing the projects and the concrete steps, it is expected that the Member States confirm the approval of the action plan in November this year on governmental level. The new strategy offers an excellent framework for strengthening the development of the North-South energy corridor. Hungary and the Czech Republic, as coordinators, have valuable project ideas in this respect. Some words about energy security. Greater diversity of supplies through interconnection will increase energy security. We consider the security of energy supply, reinforcement of market competition, and mitigation of the negative effects from climate change as high priority tasks in the region. The integrated electricity market and gas market must be strengthened by improvement in cross-border energy trade, the creation of solidarity measures, and increased support for renewable energy sources. The unification of the region's energy market can reduce the negative effects of price increases and can simultaneously reduce countries' import dependency. Green economic development and investment are promising areas of economic growth. The coordination of energy efficiency measures for urban areas is a high priority goal in the coordinated region on long term. The energy efficiency of buildings and programs for the supply of renewable energy are of regional importance. We should seek to support these goals from European funds and also complementary financing by national and business actors. With green technologies, ecological modernization development in the region can become sustainable. As a result, economic's negative environmental impacts can be reduced. This presents an opportunity for the region. For the region small and medium-sized enterprises a good opportunity to launch new initiatives and to make innovative investment. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, our goal in the region is to reach obvious results on regional cooperation as early as next year. In this respect, we must not delay. I warmly thank our Czech partners once again for all the cooperation so far, and I am looking forward to discuss the first achievement of the strategy's implementation very soon here in Prague. Thank you.